Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We're going to play today with the Vintage Hello Stamp Die and Stencil set from Diamond Press. This is a super cute set. And it comes with everything you need to make these cards. So you have three stencils actually. You have the dies that even make the notepads. You have all kinds of telephones and sentiments to put all this together, and you can even have decorations to decorate your phone. So we're going to use this today, and I took out some papers already. I have my stencils. I know what stencils I'm going to use and what dies are going to be used as well. So I'm going to start setting things up, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got the dies out that I'm going to use, and I brought out my tri-blend. It's the pale pink. We're going to use that. And I have my card base. We're going to do an A2 size card, which is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches, so you can see. So I'm going to cut this. Okay, I want to make a gold layer for the bottom. So if my card is at 4 1/4, I'm just going to cut it a little bit less, right? Just, you know, to leave still a little white border around. And if you wanted to get a better edge, then cut it a little bigger and then trim it. So now I'll do just about there, and then we'll cut it again at a little bit less than 5.5. So we have our first layer. And if you want more of the white to show, then trim it down just a little bit more, which I might do that. We'll see. And now I'm going to take this white card and I'm going to cut it at, I guess 4 1/8. So I'm bringing it down by 1/8, right? And then 3/8. Okay, and here's where I'm going to glue down the pieces that are going to make my pattern. So what I was thinking is I would take this, of course I'm going to use that stencil and make one layer, and then maybe using this as kind of like, so it could look kind of like a tablecloth. And then I found a die from a previous set. Let me see where I put that at. That looks like a doily, so I figured I'll cut also a piece and we can use that as a doily for our, you know, bake table. Alright, so that's the plan, and then afterwards we'll glue this on top. But this is going to make it easier for me to trim everything and make sure everything is the right size. And if we need to trim it a little more, we can do that as well. But for now, this is what we're doing. Okay? Alright, so I think I'm going to cut this one at 2 1/4. And then I know it's, and I brought it down to 4 1/8. So we could go ahead and do that. And then we'll put that here. And there was still glue on it, so it's kind of sticking, so that's good. Okay, so I'm going to cut the other piece and I'll be right back. Okay, I actually let that dry a little bit, and I'm going to cut it with you guys. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to cut it at 4 1/8. And then, let me see, just about. Okay, I'm going to cut it this way at, let me make sure I got it the right way. Okay, and then we could trim it all down together. All right, so I'm going to trim this at 3 1/4. And you see my paper is not even, so let me see. Okay, so it's even on that side. And now we're pretty good. Okay, so we're gonna glue this down and then we'll finish trimming everything together, right? But before I do that, I want to stencil this. So let me go ahead and bring out, I have some scrap card here I can use. Let's put this just about there, and we can put our stencil on top. And I'm gonna bring in my pink shades. Let me bring that over. Sorry about that. Okay, and we'll use the bubble gum for this. Let me get a brush in. Make sure it's clean. And I'm gonna use one of those Dollar Tree brushes that I got. There's a hair sticking out, to see how it works. Because sometimes you gotta just save a little. Okay, so I'm just gonna hold this down. I'm not gonna worry too much, and I'm gonna ink it. And I'm just trying to make it look like wallpaper. Okay. So let's see what we have. And that's perfect. And we can glue it on our panel. See, the panel just makes it easier to put things together. You don't have to think about it too much. Okay. So we're gonna glue this one here. And I'm gonna give that time to set so that I could go ahead and trim everything so it could fit perfectly. So give me a second and I'll be right back. Okay, so now we're gonna run the die through. And I'm gonna say something like, these folders, they're for the Grand Marquis, they're so much more sturdier, and they last a lot longer. I've been using this a lot, and they still cut all the way through, so that's pretty good. Good to know. All right, let's clean that off. So now I want to see how much of this I want here, and I think I'm just gonna cut it in half. And of course I'm gonna pay attention to the design. Maybe just about there. But trying to cut it like on the solid piece, right? So maybe there. And then one of these will become our little doily. So the phone will sit on top of here, and we could put a sentiment here. So we got that going on. Isn't that cute? Okay, I'm gonna put this to the side and make sure I put that back in its packaging. And we're gonna put this together first, so I'm gonna go ahead and stamp my sentiment on this, which I need to see more or less where I'm gonna put my phone. So this is here. I want our phone to be more or less there. Okay, and I'm gonna put, look at the stamps. Hi, friend. So hi, friend would go here. All right, I'm gonna stamp that and I'll be right back. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this on. Okay. Okay. Let's do this. And we're gonna put this one on top. So again, it's gonna be a thick card, but you can always use thinner cardstock. I just have issues with it. I like to feel that it's a thick card. I don't know. I have issues. But, I mean, there's worse issues I could have, so. Okay, so I'm going to hold this down for a second, let it set, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to now glue this part down, and again, I'll pause and let it dry so I don't have to keep repeating it. I'm going to go ahead and add some of the glue here because I want it all to adhere well. And I'm not popping anything up right now because we have to still put the phone on it, and that's going to give it some height and some dimension. So I'm just going to put this one down, and I'm going to eyeball this. I don't want to move it too much on this paper because I don't want to leave smudges or anything. And I'll be back. Okay, so I cut out my phone, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to color it, but I'm going to fast forward through that so you guys don't have to sit through all of it because it's going to take a little bit. So we'll do that, and then we'll come back after it's colored, okay? cut out all the gold pieces. And what we're going to do with this one, let me get something here. Okay. I'm going to poke this out. And I cut this because I want this little rim on the top. So I'm going to cut it out like as carefully as I can. And I'm just going to follow that line. Isn't it funny how you hold your breath when you're cutting? Okay. So we have that. And we're going to glue this on the top. So I'm trying to tie in some gold pieces. So we're going to glue this right up here. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on my hand. Don't do this. But I know I'm not allergic, so I'm okay with it. And I'm going to add the glue. And then we can add it to our piece here. Okay, I'm going to give that a little time to set since it's so thin. And I'll be back. Okay, so I'm going to glue this one on top of here. And again, we're just building our little scene. If you're more careful with your coloring, you won't need this little white panel, but since I wasn't, I'm just going to add it because I want it to look pretty good. Close to perfect. And I'm going to add this here. And we could let that dry. Okay, so everything is starting to come together. We have our little gold piece there. Of course, we're going to lift that up so it can go above the phone, and our dial will go there. I'm going to need a second one of these. So let me pop this out and cut out one more. And this is going to go here. So we'll glue that in, but I'll cut one out and I'll be back. Okay, so we're going to stamp out our numbers. And then I have to find a piece of paper to do our dial. And we're going to put this here. And let me look at it. It's pretty good. Okay. Get our ink. All right, and I'm just going to stamp it once. Oop. Try not to get it dirty. Okay, so put that to the side. And we're going to need one more piece of paper so we can stamp our sentiment. And I think we're going to cut it out of this. This is what should go on top. And I'm just going to get some scrap paper here. And I'm going to run this through my machine and I'll be back. Okay, so I'm going to stamp it with Just to Say. And I'm going to just use the same ink because it's there. And we have that, and that's going to get glued on the top. Okay. And we're gonna let all that set before I start handling it. I'm gonna look for the paper that we're gonna cut out our dial. I'll be right back. Okay, so I cut out the dial. Look how cute that looks. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna add some glue. Okay. And I'm gonna pick this up and make sure I line everything up right. And glue that down. And then we're gonna add a little heart to the center. I'm gonna have to use this. It's gonna make my life easier. So I'm gonna add some glue. Let's add that to the center. And now we're gonna put some glue on here. And I'm gonna take some out. Isn't that cute? And now we can add some glue to this guy too. Okay. I love it when everything starts to come together. Okay. So we have that going on. And this will go here. We could pop this up more if we want. I'm just gonna glue it down. Okay, and now I'm just gonna let that fully dry before I finish setting this up, so I'll be back. Okay, so this is gonna go here, and I just have it there for now just to see. I'm gonna need foam tape on this, so I brought out this foam tape. It's I'm gonna use this part, and let me bring my smaller scissor in. Okay, so maybe about here. And I'm just going to try to follow the curve. I'm not going all the way down with it because I have this to think about. And I don't know how much on top of it I'm going to have to put this. So we're going to just curve that a little. And then we can trim it. There we go. And now we have to put some here. And of course I'm gonna also leave a little bit of space. So maybe just cutting this in half will work. I think that's gonna be fine. Okay, so we have that ready to go. So then it'll lift above the telephone. So now we can glue this in place. I got some glue here, but if you don't touch it too much, we can come back with an adhesive remover and take that off, which is what I'll do. And I just want to get this pretty straight and bring it down a little bit. Maybe there. And go ahead and just press a little bit on that, and we'll hold it until it dries, at least until it tacks, and we should be good. Just take all of these off, and I'm going to add a little bit of glue so I'm able to move it around. And I want to put it just like right on top. Cute. Okay, we're going to let that set, and then we'll put our cord and this little piece. I'll be right back. Okay, so I kind of glued this down without adding these. I want to put these little swirls on it, so I'm going to attempt to do it. It doesn't matter if it doesn't come out perfect. Again, it's supposed to be a vintage look, so we're just gonna do the best we can, that's all. All right. Gonna use the pink. Add that a little. Okay, that's gonna work. I'm gonna add a little more and be done with it. Okay, and now we have the one that goes here, and I'm gonna do the same thing. This would have been much easier before. So make sure you do it before. Okay, and let's put it one more time. And I'm thinking that it's not taking because there's a space here, so maybe if I just put that there. Okay, perfect. Let's wipe that off, and let's go to the other side. It's all these little things that make a big difference. Already that's brought a lot into the design. That's perfect. Okay. Whew. We're able to fix it. Let's take that out. Such a cute card. Okay, so I'm gonna add this little piece first. And I'm thinking maybe about here. Or maybe I should glue this first and just glue it on top. Yeah, let's do that. All right, again, I'm gonna do what you're not supposed to do, but it's okay. You could put this on your mat or whatever. Okay. And we're gonna go just about there. And maybe press, press, press. And now we can add this little guy. Oops, that's too far. Okay, let me look at it. And there we go. Done deal. Such a cute card. You could double this up too, and it would have rose everything up. I could still double it up, but I'll decide that later. But that's the card. Look how cute that is. Love it, love it, love it. All right, guys. Again, that's the vintage Hello Stamp Die and Stencil set. And it comes with everything you need to make this card. All you have to do is add some paper, and if you want to, just use the stencils to make all of this. You don't need any extra paper. So I'm gonna get my eraser here, and I'm just gonna get that extra glue off that we discussed, and we will be good to go. There you go. I'll take some pictures and I'll talk to you guys real soon. Bye bye.